तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल.
Let me introduce you to Vishwesh Bhalerao, who is from Pune. He is just 17-year-old. So this is for especially motivating will be motivating for those who are 17-year-old, 18-year-old, just starting off with the defense attempts. And he had been a very bright student in school as well. This is this was his first attempt, NDA 148 for the Indian Air Force at 1 AFSB Dehradun. So tell us, Vishwesh Bhalerao, first of all, congratulations. And secondly, first of all, tell us what routine should be followed by a 17-year-old, 18-year-old young, because we get many queries. They are log jam with JEE preparation, NDA preparation, NEET preparation, all the entrance exam preparation, plus additionally, if there are some private institutes, private engineering colleges, their separate entrance exams, if any. So what was your routine and how did you manage this phase of your life?
First of all, thank you, ma'am. And I was also actually preparing for these competitive exams while I was preparing for NDA. I was preparing for JEE and the other engineering college exams. So what I realized that I had first actually decided that I would try for defense services after I complete my graduation, because I thought that NDA exam is tough and I won't be able to clear it. But in my 11th standard, when I saw a few sample papers, I realized that the syllabus is almost overlapping. That what we are learning in our 11th and 12th, especially the mathematics, it's almost similar to what comes in the NDA exam, just a little bit higher level. Sometimes it comes, but overall it's very similar. So I had studied maths and in my 11th and 12th standard, and also sciences. So in those two subjects, I did not have much of a problem. And also I had studied for JEE, so my maths was a little better. So I was able to do it easily. And then for the other subjects, the general studies subjects, I just watched a few YouTube videos. I did not study for all of them. I studied a few specific topics which I thought were easy. And I think if you just focus on your this 12th standard boards, and if you study them thoroughly, that is especially mathematics and sciences part, then you will be easily able to clear those subjects. But for the students that do not have subjects like history or geography, you can study them separately. It does not take much effort. Just watch some YouTube videos or maybe read some book, and that way you will easily able to clear that.
Okay, thank you so much. So tell us about the one attempt that you gave, single attempt, and in first attempt you made it. So what was the experience starting from day one, reporting, screening process, psychology, then group task? From a fresher's point of view, we will come to know.
Yes, ma'am. So my interview was at 1 AFSB Dehradun on 18th of April. On the first day, screening day, around 190 candidates reported. And at first, strict COVID protocols were being followed. Everyone was made to wear face masks and face shields, separate bottles and sanitizers. That was still there. So, and first of all, we had the OIR test. In the OIR test, we had 2 sets, and I attempted all the questions in both the sets. It was fairly easy for me. I had practiced a little bit of OIR before my SSB. So OIR went good. And the next thing we had was the PPDT. In the PPDT, we were shown a picture in which a lady was sitting on a table and another one was standing next to her. They both were laughing or giggling, and the one who was standing was wearing an apron. And there were a few people in the background. There was an escalator. Some people were just sitting. So I presumed it to be a scene of a mall, and that lady had opened a new cafe, and she was distributing samples of her new dishes that she had made, and she was inviting the customers in the mall to her shop. So this was my story. Then we were taken for narration and discussion. In the narration, my narration was very confident. I could finish it in time. I think narration was probably the best part of the PPDT process of mine. So, and then the discussion was very chaotic. People say that freshers have a very mild discussion. They do it very silently, very cooperatively, but it was not the case this time. Everybody was trying to put their points. It was very chaotic. I tried to participate, but I could only speak once or twice. It was not much of an contribution, honestly. And that was it for the screening. And I got screened in. Around 68 got screened in out of the 190. And at the AFSBs, we have our psychology test on the same day as the screening test. So we were, first of all, we had a document verification and all, and we were sent to rest for some time. And then at around 5 p.m., we were called for the psychology. And I had actually never practiced psychology before joining NFA. I had got into this. I had started practicing it like one or two stories, but then after interacting with sir, I stopped practicing. I never did it again. And then so I wrote all 12 stories in TAT, and the blank story I had prepared it. I wrote the same one that I had shown to sir. And then in the VAT, I wrote about 56 watts. I missed a few. And in the SRTs, I wrote 52 SRTs. And self-description, I had prepared it. I wrote the same thing, just added a few more points because they are the sub points that they had given were a little different. So I added a few points accordingly. And this was all for the first day. We also had a PIQ form filling on that day. We filled it, and that was all for the first day. And the second day was the first day of the group tasks. And our very first task was a group discussion. Both the topics that we had got in the discussion, we had discussed in our NFA groups. For the first discussion, where we have a choice between two topics, the topics were why students go abroad to study, what are the reasons, better job opportunities, better education quality, and all that. And the second choice was how should India help in vaccine distribution in the whole world. So our group chose the first topic. We had a discussion on that. I gave good points. I tried to participate as much as I could. And this time the group was very cooperative. They were giving other chances to participate. Our whole group was of freshers. Everybody in our group was fresher. And so we had that discussion. But for some reason, due to we were wearing a face shield. So for that reason, I think my voice was not able to reach some of them when there was a chaos. But during the time when I was speaking alone, I was audible and I was there in the group. And for the second discussion, the topic that the GTO gave us was the Taliban conflict. That is, what should be India's approach towards it. And so similar to the first topic, I participated in it. I could give points. The group was again cooperative and everybody gave good points. So that was the group discussion. And then we had the group planning exercise. Group planning exercise, the format we had or the task we had was similar to what we had practiced, what I had practiced in the NFA groups. We had 4 tasks, and I did not write it in the tabular form as sir has suggested. I tried to do it when I was participating in the NFA groups, but it was not working for me. So I took suggestions from the group, and they told me a format, that is to write in paragraph, how to write in a paragraph format, how to write in points format. I followed that, and in the SSB also I did the same thing. I wrote in points format and a few other things like the resources and the timings, etc. And then in the discussion, uh, some of the students were, they had never done a GP before, so they were giving some very not very appropriate solutions to a few tasks. So I tried to guide the group. I suggested the solutions that we should have, what we should do for some situations, etc. And also the task where we don't have to give it some priority, that is, it is not very important for us to do. The group was trying to go behind that and trying to do that. I suggested the group that let's leave it on to them. We don't have to do that. We already have a few other tasks at our hand that are much more important. And that was it. But I tried to steer the group towards discussion of timings, but no one was interested. So we did not discuss upon the timings at all. And that was for the group discussion. And the narration was done by another student. He also in his narration did not mention anything about the timing. And yeah, so that was the group planning exercise. And then we had a full group task. So in the full group task, we had I'm sorry, not the full group task, the progressive group task. Yeah, so in that we had 4 tasks and of increasing difficulty. I had watched a few NFA sessions that had on this group task, so it was fairly easy for me. I was able to participate in the group. I gave solutions and I helped the group, especially a few times, one or twice. I stayed behind. I helped others to get ahead first, and I stayed behind and helped them. So, and the tasks were increasing in difficulty. We were able to solve the first 3 tasks, but we were stuck on the 4th one. We were not able to complete it. But the GTO gave us a concession. He agreed to one of our ideas, and he said that okay, your task is complete. So that was for the progressive group task. And then we had the half group tasks. We had 4 members of the 9 in our group, and the task we had been given was easy one. Uh, I participated in it. Me and one other candidate, we both were participating, and the other two were just following. That happened in that. So we completed it. There was no grilling by the GTO at that time. And then we had the command task. I'm sorry. Yes, we had the command task.
You can go with the flow. In general, what all experiences you had in
Uh-huh.
your ground task, especially about the ideas generation, the logic building. People are, uh, uh, scared of all this and not seen any time in their lives, and suddenly faced with, and I get those inquiries as well. How without tasks having those fata belly plank and structures, how what are NFS students doing? So please tell us in general about all this.
In general, I had watched a few YouTube videos. I had watched NFA sessions on it,
हाँ,
and when you go there, take it as a game. Take it as something that you are playing with your friends, and try to solve it. It's not. Sometimes it can get hard, but usually it is doable if you try to concentrate. If you try to get yourself into it. If you try to fully involve yourself, it is easy. At first you can have some problems. You might not get ideas. The group might be going ahead of you. They might be giving ideas, but it's okay. Once you get used to it, it will be easy for you. It's not very hard. So yeah, that's it. Just stay focused and try to give your best. That is for the group tasks. And on the for second day itself, we had our lecture 8. For the lecture 8, the I only remember 3 topics that were islands of India, social service, and election campaigns. I spoke on election campaigns. I spoke for all 3 minutes, and I had a good structure in my lecture 8, but it was mostly opinion based. There was not a lot of factual points, but it was a good lecture 8 in my opinion. Also, the group thought that it was a good lecture 8. So that was the second day. On the third day, at first, we had a command task. A command task, I was only called once. There were a few popular choices. Everybody was calling them, so I got called only once. And we had an open choice that we could call any number of candidates. There was not a restriction that only 2 candidates should be called. I called 2, and the task that I had been given was, in my opinion, a moderate level task. It was not very difficult. I was giving a few solutions, and this time the GTO was putting some time pressure. He was doubting my solutions. That do you think this will actually work? And just trying to uh, demotivate me. But I kept going, and a few I tried to give 1 or 2 solutions, but they were not working. So then in the third time, I gave a solution, and it worked. We got the task completed. It was not a crossing task. It was to retrieve the load that we had. It was hung on one of the structures. We had to retrieve it. So that was my command task. And then we had the individual obstacles. I'm still improving on my physical fitness. I'm still not at the peak. I'm still trying to work towards it. So I was only able to complete 4 of the 10 tasks. But whatever I did it with full confidence. Whenever I went to a task, I did not hesitate. I just did it. And if I was not able to do a task, and I just moved forward. I did not try it more times because I knew I had some task ahead of me that I could do. So I left the task that I couldn't do and I proceeded to the ones that were easier for me. This way I completed 4 tasks, and then we had the final group task. In that we had a long crossing obstacle, and we reached almost to the middle of it, and then after that the group was not able to do it. We were trying a bunch of different ideas, and this time also the GTO gave a few concessions, and then we completed it. So that was all for the group tasks. And then yes, so this was the second day, and on the third day, I'm sorry, this was the third day, and on the fourth day I had my personal interview. It was in the morning itself. The questions that were asked were based mostly on myself, about me, about friends, families, my educational background, my academics, and he asked me a lot about the Air Force. The interviewing officer asked me about the Air Force, about what aircraft we have, and especially before that, he asked me about the meaning of my name, and also my date of birth falls on a very special day, that is the Air Force Day, 8th of October. So he asked me about that, whether I know that, and when was the first Air Force Day celebrated, etc. I could answer that. I knew all that. So then he asked me about the Air Force, what all aircraft we have, what aircraft would you like to fly, and a few specifications of it, and about a few missile systems that we have in India. And one current affair question was asked, that is the recent BrahMos misfire that happened, that the BrahMos missile went into Pakistan. That was the question that was asked. That was it. No other current affairs, and also no questions based on the academics, that is about the academic subjects, physics, chemistry, or math. I was expecting it, but none were asked. Uh, and then just about what are my backup plans, future plans, uh, if I'm, what was my motivation to join the Air Force, and how was I preparing, etc. So that interview went good. That was it for that day. We had the rest of the day free for us. We enjoyed that day. And then on the fifth day, we had our conference. In the conference, there was some discussion before I had to go in. There was around 5 minutes of discussion. And then when I went in, they asked me a few questions about my performance in 11th standard, what subjects was I weak in, how did I improve on it, what did I do for them in 12th standard, etc. And then that was it. And the conference of all the students went on for a very long time. The results were declared at around 5 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. And then out of the 68, 11 students got recommended. I was just number 16. I was also recommended. And yeah, that was it for the recommendation part. On the next day, that is day 6, we had our CPSs. I cleared the CPSs also. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you for this detailed, elaborate description of your
Yes, ma'am.
experience.
I had written
Please
it
tell
all
us.
down. That's why I was able to
Yes.
give more details.
We are thankful for it that you have written down everything. Please tell us about now the preparation side. How did you prepare the technical details, the details regarding some current affairs, and how did you prepare your routine such that the current affairs GK part plus you, as mentioned by you, some of the things are common across all the entrance exams. Sometime you have to devote for that basics of mathematics and all. So how did you manage everything? Preparation side.
Yes, so for the written exam, I was preparing for JEE. So as I said, maths was I just solved sample papers for maths. I downloaded a few previous year sample papers. I solved them in time. I had put a timer, and I had also printed out the OMR sheets. So I practiced it on it. So, and I was getting decent scores. I was not much worried about it. And then for the GS part also, the subjects that I studied, the chemistry and biology, most of the portion that comes is from the 10th standard. So if you even revise it once, maybe watch a few YouTube videos,
If
it
you
will be
involve
more than enough.
your routine in this, starting from your getting up, waking up and exercising and these kind of things, if you involve in your description, that would be better.
Okay, ma'am. So I used to wake up around 5:30 to 6. I used to study for 2 hours in the morning, and then I used to go for exercise at around 8 to 9. I used to exercise, and then again in the afternoon I used to study for 3 hours. And then after lunch, again I used to study for 3 hours, and after that I used to do my SSB preparation. That I used to read newspapers, watch YouTube videos about current affairs, general knowledge. I used to prepare lecturates, and I participated in NFA 18, whose sessions are held in the evening. I participated in them. They are held at 8 o'clock. And groups really helped me in improving my current affairs, general knowledge, and my confidence overall. At first, I was not able to speak much, but then as I participated more, my confidence grew, and then I was able to participate. So that was my routine that I followed in a day. I also did some exercise in the afternoon if I had time, but most of it was in the morning.
You mentioned that group was a bit chaotic, especially in the screening part. So for freshers, how do we get screened and how do we sail through this chaotic and fish market kind of GD discussion that happens after the narration?
Yes, so I had watched a video of Nehru sir in which he had explained how to get screened in, and there he had explained very thoroughly that screening is not just based on your discussion. There are more aspects to it. That is the OIR test, your story, and narration. So my three things before the discussion, I think I had done it very well. OIR, I think it was good. Story was decent, and narration was very confident, and it was fluent. So that part was already resolved in the group discussion. If the group is chaotic, uh, it's upon your own personality if you're able to participate in it. It depends on how much assertive you are. But don't get aggressive. Don't try to shout on anyone. Try to participate if you can. But one thing is that focus on all the things that are before the discussion also. Discussion is just one part of it. Even if you're not able to do much in the discussion, make sure that you have done everything that was in your hand before that. That is what I followed.
Yes, that's great. That's great. Tell us something regarding this interview side. Apart from your technical details, he also asked you about the PIQ form. So, how well were you being aware of yourself and aware of your strengths and weaknesses and this side of the story?
Yes, so this is something that you should know about yourself. Almost everybody gets asked these questions about you, yourself, family, the opinion of your friends. And I had actually not prepared anything for it. Whatever I said there, it was what came to me at that time. But it was honest. And no questions were asked on my hobbies. I was expecting about hobbies and sports. I have actually not played much of sports. I only played lawn tennis, but it was only casual. I had not participated in any competitions. I was expecting questions on those, but none were asked about my hobbies also. And they asked me upon academics and about family, friends. That is something that you should know about yourself. That is very important. Your strengths, your weaknesses, you can list them out. You can try to add a few points to them, but be honest. That's it.
And last, I would like to ask you. You mentioned that you did not practice for psychology, so people have doubts. Then, how to increase our power of imagination? How to bring bring those imagination stories back that asati without practice? So, straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the one who has got recommended in the first attempt, and not indulging in practice too much of practice. I mean.
Yes, ma'am. So I have read a lot of books, story books, as well as non-fictional books. So my English is good. So reading books has helped me a lot in my VAT as well as tax. And in my group, also in the NFA group, I've observed that my stories are very unique. They are something different from the group, but they are related to the picture. But they are usually different from what others would write on that picture. I realized that in the group itself, and the group asked me to maintain it. They said that it is a good quality. And yes, ma'am. So that was for the PPDT that we were doing. And other than that, just keep reading books. Reading books is very important. Read newspapers. They develop your English very well. Yeah. So that is how you can prepare for psychology.
Thank you for mentioning this reading habit. Now I give it to sir for personal interactions. How did that help you and all? Sir will be in a better position.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Vishwesh. Congratulations. You have done yourself proud and your family proud in your first attempt. Right, sir. I have a few questions which are not the very usual ones about this. One is that, it is for the benefit of those who are attending, our students also, as also others. People at your age, very young age, are feeling a lot of pressure. कि इतना पढ़ाई है, ये competition, उधर competition, NDA exam भी है and all that. But that kind of tuition में भागना है, इधर भागना है, those kind of things are going on in the society. You are part of that society. You're seeing all of that. तो क्या होता है, ये stress जो है ऐसा हो जाता है कि the happiness goes out of life. And I see young kids only stressed out, ना हंसी भी नहीं आता है चेहरे में, pressure is all there. तो थोड़ा बताओ यार, how did you cope up with this? And you seem to be quite cheerful and enjoying life. How did you manage this? What are your views on this?
So that is actually the solution, that be cheerful, enjoy whatever you do, because whatever you're doing, it's for, you have chosen it for yourself. You should be enjoying if you're doing it. If you're preparing for NDA, enjoy the process. It is a very fun process. You get to explore different topics. You meet new people. So and to stay focused, you must have a definite goal in front of you, and make sure that that is exactly what you want to do, that it is not because of some pressure that is being put on you that you are going towards that side. Whatever you want to do, make that your goal and work in small steps towards it. Don't take any kind of stress. Nobody is going to be bothered if you're not able to do something. And about managing many things at once, for me it was easy, because I did not have to study much separately for the NDA exam. And also the SSB preparation, it is also a very fun process, about reading newspapers and learning new topics, learning new things. So that is my answer to it. That is, enjoy the process and make sure that you don't fall into, that is, confused. Don't be confused. Make sure you have a proper goal.
Okay, thanks a lot, Vishwesh. Now I have another question. You are conversant in Hindi, na? Not difficult for you?
No, sir.
अच्छा, क्या होता है, माहौल ऐसा होता है एसएसबी में जाके कि एसएसबी का हुआ बना हुआ होता है, ये भी एसएस कर रहा है, वो भी एसएस कर रहा है, सब अलग अलग अपनी टिप्स दे रहे हैं, कोई कोचिंग एकेडमी बैकग्राउंड से आए हुए हैं, कोई रिपीटर से सलाह लेके आए हुए हैं, कोई सक्सेसफुल कैंडिडेट की शिक्षा लिए हुए हैं, तो बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन लेके लोग आए हुए होते हैं। तो अब इसमें ब्रॉडली देखा जाए तो कैंडिडेट, अब हम बात कर रहे हैं कैंडिडेट्स की लाइफ आउटसाइड द असेसमेंट टाइम। असेसमेंट पीरियड चल रहा है उसकी बातें तो हम करते ही रहते हैं, आउटसाइड द असेसमेंट जब चल रहा है तो उसमें जो है, अब एक कैटेगरी है जिनको बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं पता कि एसएसबी में क्या होता है। वो जो है ना, वो अपने कोई आईआईटी शाईटी लिखते लिखते उनका एनडीए पास हो गया था, वो आ गए कि भाई चलो अब दे लेते हैं एनडीए, पास तो हो ही गया है, टाइम है तो देने आ जाते हैं। दैट कैटेगरी इज देयर एंड यू आर not that category, but you are slightly towards that rather than the hardcore coaching वाले जो हैं। एक hardcore coaching वाले होते हैं जो पूरा अपना जो है ना, वो outside the सिलेक्शन सिस्टम के बाहर ही वो अपना सिस्टम क्रिएट कर लेते हैं कि वो जीडी शीडी पूरी वो कंडक्ट कराते हैं और ऑल दैट, ये भी एक चीज चलती रहती है। तो अब मुझे ये बताइए कि एक जो बिल्कुल ही जिनको कुछ नहीं पता है एसएसबी के बारे में, एक जो है जो कि बिल्कुल हार्डकोर एक्सपर्टीज लेके आए हुए हैं कोचिंग एकेडमी वाले, एक मिडवे वाले हैं, और एक कुछ जो है नो फ्रिल्स एकेडमी का भी एक अलग अपना वो है आउटलुक, यू नो, ये कैटेगरी वाले हैं। तो इनके बारे में आपके क्या व्यूज हैं कि आउटसाइड द असेसमेंट सिस्टम क्या कुछ बातचीतें चलती हैं, उनसे आपने क्या सीखा, और नो फ्रिल्स एकेडमी से जो जा रहे हैं उनकी क्या एडवांटेजेस है और उनकी क्या डिसएडवांटेजेस है?
यस सर। सो
इंग्लिश हिंदी दोनों में बताओ आराम से।
हाँ हाँ, तो जब मैं प्रिपेयर कर रहा था, मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स उन्होंने भी एनडीए दिया था, वो आईआईटी के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे थे, कुछ का क्लियर हो गया, बट फिर वो ऐसे कैजुअल से ही एसएसबी में गए थे, उनका कुछ ये एम नहीं था, तो फिर उनका नहीं हो पाया, बट मेरा क्योंकि वही एम था, सो आई आई प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट। और ऐसा कुछ नहीं है सिलेक्शन, मतलब सिलेक्शन तो किसी का भी हो सकता है, जिसने प्रिपेयर किया है उसका भी हो जाएगा कभी, जिसने नहीं किया है उसका भी हो जाएगा, बट इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट यू हैव प्रिपेयर्ड, क्योंकि जो एसएसबी में है वो सब तो दे आर जस्ट टूल्स टू टेस्ट योर पर्सनालिटी, और रियल लाइफ में व्हाट मैटर्स इज योर कॉम्पिटेंस टू यूज दैट टूल्स, नॉट हाउ मच यू नो अबाउट द टूल्स। दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई हैड हर्ड फ्रॉम समबडी, दैट आई अप्लाइड इट। और फिर ऐसे तो बहुत टाइप के बच्चे भी आते हैं वहाँ पे, हर बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं, हर के अलग व्यूज होते हैं, एंड डोंट गेट इन्फ्लुएंस बाय देम। वो कुछ भी बोलेंगे, आपको डराएंगे, वो सब डरने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा। बी कॉन्फिडेंट इन व्हाट यू हैव डन, एंड वही नो फ्रिल्स एकेडमी से जो जाते हैं उन वो एक क्लीन माइंडसेट से जाता है कि कुछ भी हो जाएगा, हम अपना बेस्ट देंगे, हमें खुद को असेस नहीं करना है, द असेसर इज सेटिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस। So that is what I think No Frills Academy teaches us to improve ourselves and not to fall much into the SSB process. Also in my group, I realized that I was the one who knew least about the SSB process. बाकी सबको तो सब पता था कि इसके आगे ये टास्क होता है, फिर वो होगा, उसमें ये होता है। मैं तो ऐसे ही, मैं बस वहां पे जाके एंजॉय किया मैंने, इतना ही था।
तेरे को सीक्वेंस तो अभी भी नहीं पता, अभी तूने लिख के रखी हुई है तो तू
हाँ
चेक
सर,
करके
वही
बता।
सर वही।
Okay, okay, very, very fine. But the atmosphere created in No Frills Academy did make a positive difference, particularly the group activities, the colleagues you had in your group. They were of help. But yeah, okay.
Definitely
So
sir.
that is all I had to ask you, Vishwesh.